Hey, welcome back. In this mini lecture, we'll be talking about classroom management for teachers. It's two parts. First, organizing classrooms and materials. You want to match your instructional goals with activities, which may include teacher-led or small group or both. You want to make sure, B, that your high traffic areas are free of congestion. C, you want to have frequently used materials easily accessible to you and your students. D and E, you want to have students to be easily seen by the teacher, and you want students to easily see the blackboard or whiteboard. You want to make sure that you're purposeful in the way that you choose rules and procedures. You want to make sure that students, A, bring all materials to class. B, they respect people's property, their materials. C, you want to make sure that they're respectful and polite. D, you want to make sure that they're seated and ready to work when the bell rings. And E, you want to make sure that they obey the school rules, not just those in your classroom. 3, in terms of managing students' work, this is for grading. You want to track students as much as possible. This includes their achievement, their effort, their homework, their improvement, their participation, and percentages. B, you want to assess accurately. To do that, you want to use frequent evaluation to make sure that if they have a bad day or a really good day, that doesn't make your assessment off base. And C, you want to record information in a grade book, not separate lists, so that say if you lose one of your lists, that could cause trouble. This is for feedback in terms of managing student work. A, you want to have students learn to check their own work. We're going to need to model how to check. You want to make sure that you use different colored ink than your students use. B, you want to have students keep record of their own grades so that they become more proactive. C, you want to make sure that you have long-term groups and projects. Divide into smaller goals and deadlines so that it's not overwhelming. D, you want to have peer review so that students review their own work and their peers. E, you want to guide the beginning of groups seat work, then roam, so that students know what they're doing to get on track, and then you want to go around to support them by roaming. F, you want to have long-range monitoring and track missing assignments, which I know can be difficult for myself when I have students at the post-secondary level. 4, you want to get off to a good start with students. There's a number of things you can do. A, resolve uncertainties. You want to have early on any expectations you have, procedures and rules, and students should learn the appropriate behavior to adhere to those things. B, you want to plan simple lessons to ensure student success. C, you want to keep a whole class focus. Group work should maintain whole class focus as well, so that everyone's doing everything together at the same time. And D, you want to be available, visible, in charge. Again, you want to roam the classroom when you're not talking to the whole class. You want to prompt students to do their work. You want to praise them to make sure that they continue to do good work. Finally, 5, in terms of planning and conducting instruction, you want to plan classroom activities of various types. For example, A, you want to use openers to transition into the classroom. For example, do nows at the beginning of a class and closers at the end of the day or at the end of a specific unit or subject. B, you want to check work. You want to teach appropriate procedures to do that, and you want to, again, as before, use a unique ink color so that students can evaluate their own work, their peers groups, but they can tell yours. And you want to conduct a recitation for C, orally check student understanding, distribute questions to all students, and watch for slow, rapid pacing in terms of the way that you're presenting material. D, in terms of content development, you want to introduce and extend material, concept, or skills. You want to create teacher questions beforehand so that you know what you're going to ask. You want to collect work to check for student understanding. E, in terms of discussion, you want to encourage evaluation and awareness of other viewpoints. You want to make sure students share opinions and you share yours. And you want to plan your prompts and activity management ahead of time to make sure that it'll go well. In terms of seat work, you want to make it based on the previously presented material so students know what they need to do and they know the content and they can reinforce it through the seat work. And you want to start on with a whole class and then do independent work, and as has been repeated multiple times, that subsequently you want to roam. G, you want to have student presentations and demonstrations. You want to make sure that you give guidelines in advance and include how the audience behaves, because that can be forgotten. H, in terms of small group work, you want to make sure that you promote comprehension among students, cooperative learning, and reciprocal teaching so that everyone's teaching one another in an ideal world. Finally, for test administration, presentation, demonstrations, you want to plan work for early finishers, because sometimes people finish and then they just stop working. Give them things that they can do. That was Classroom Management for Teachers, Part 1. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.